A woman was astonished by a recent discovery after having misplaced her anniversary ring a decade earlier. One of the most cherished possessions of a New Jersey woman was her 20th anniversary ring, a heartfelt gift from her devoted husband. She wore the priceless jewelry constantly, wanting to feel her husband's love close to her. However, fate had other plans. On an ordinary day of house cleaning, she accidentally misplaced the ring and believed it was lost forever for a decade. Then, one day, an incredible discovery was made. This story of a happy marriage, a lost ring, and a reunion that took 10 years will leave you amazed. Paula Stanton, who lived in Somers Point, New Jersey, had a life that most people would consider perfect. She raised lovely kids, had a beautiful home, and enjoyed an amazing circle of friends with whom to have get-togethers and lunches. However, one individual in particular stood out from the others in her life. Paula could trust no one more than her husband, Michael. She never had to go without anything because of the gifts he bestowed upon her. Their 30-year marriage had been blissful overall. Paula was ecstatic to receive a present from her husband on their 20th anniversary. What did her spouse give her as a surprise? A stunning gold ring with a band covered in diamonds. Paula decided not to take it off because it was so precious and beautiful. He had worked so hard to get it for her, and she would never forgive herself if she lost it. In 2008, Paula made the decision to do her Christmas cleaning on a cold winter's day. She wanted to ensure the house was pristine before friends arrived the next day for Christmas festivities. It was a tradition she followed every December. Unfortunately for Paula, things were about to take a very bad turn. Paula chose to clean the toilet, which was not one of her favorite tasks. While she was cleaning the bathroom, she noticed her fingers felt lighter. She looked down at her finger with horror as the thought of her lost ring made her blood run cold. The exquisite and costly ring that her spouse had fought so hard to get for her had somehow fallen off her finger. But now, the question of where it went remained unanswered. Paula ransacked the bathroom, looking in the tub, behind the toilet, and inside the toilet. She rummaged through her pockets and cleaning materials, holding out hope that the ring would be found. Regrettably, it had vanished. Paula knew that the ring had probably been flushed down the toilet. As she knelt beside it, tears in her eyes, she realized that if this was true, there was no way to get it back. How was she going to tell her spouse the news? I knew I must have flushed it down while I was cleaning since my hands were smaller in the winter, and it had been a touch too large for my finger, Paula told local reporters. I was so ashamed and unhappy about it. Paula felt a great deal of remorse. She couldn't help but think of her husband's joy when he gave her the ring. She was aware that it was expensive, but she wasn't sure how much exactly. What could have made her so irresponsible? Distress quickly gave way to denial. Perhaps the ring had not been disposed of properly. To find out, there was only one option. Paula started to tear apart the house in a frenzy, hoping that the ring had slipped off somewhere else. She looked in the bedroom, beneath the sofa, and in the living room. There had to be a ring in the house somewhere. Sadly, the ring was not found throughout the search. Disassembling the toilet was the last resort. Grabbing a wrench, Paula started the laborious process of disassembling the pipes and extracting the bowl from the base. She looked everywhere with a flashlight, but alas, the ring was lost. To be honest, Paula wasn't sure how her husband would react to the news and wasn't eager to inform him. She was ill with sadness for the remainder of the day. This was going to be one of the hardest conversations she would ever have. That evening, Paula approached her husband in the bedroom while he was reading. She held back her emotions as she told him what had transpired. Paula avoided meeting Michael's gaze while he listened in silence. It was one of her worst experiences ever. Once Paula had completed her confession, Michael said nothing. She initially believed he was so furious that he was mute, but then he laughed out of nowhere, relieving the intense tension in the room. How could anything be so hilarious? Paula was perplexed for a while as Michael kept laughing. After giving her a light-hearted reprimand for her awkward behavior, he offered to purchase a new ring for her to replace the old one. Paula was in complete shock, and that's an understatement. Michael appeared more amused than outraged. The next day, Michael gave Paula an identical ring. It was different, even though it was still quite lovely. Paula was filled with remorse every time she glanced at the new ring. She seemed to have shed a little bit of her identity. Paula was obviously still concerned about the loss of her special anniversary ring, even though one would think that after 10 years she would have moved on from it. It seemed that she was more attached to the ring than she had thought. One day, she abruptly decided that she had to locate it again. Paula made the decision to get in touch with Ted, a family friend, and the head of the city's public works department. She gave him the rundown on the circumstances and asked if he could perhaps keep a lookout for it while he was at work. She realized it was absurd to ask after all this time, but she reasoned that it couldn't hurt to try. The request surprised Ted a little, even though he knew there was little chance of locating anything. "I can't believe I did this," she replied, her expression changing as she told him about it. "I told her really nicely that the chances of us finding it were pretty much zero, but we'd keep an eye out for it," he said to the press of Atlantic City. Ted and his team would be building a sewage tunnel about 400 feet from Paula's house just after Thanksgiving in 2018. Beneath the trash and filth, Ted discovered something bright while his staff went about their day. Was it what Paula had lost? Perhaps. Ted was startled to see a gold ring set with diamonds. After clearing away the debris, he thought there was a good chance it was his friend's missing ring. Even if he couldn't be positive, he was eager to present it to her when his shift ended. That night, after work, Ted eagerly headed over to Paula's place. He was excited to show her what he had discovered. He gently tapped on the door and waited for her response. To her astonishment, Paula found Ted waiting there when she answered the door. Initially, she believed he could be there to alert her about upcoming development in the area of her home, but she saw that he had something in his hand that appeared to be quite familiar. Ted silently handed the ring to Paula, who immediately recognized the familiar diamonds, the gold band, and her initials delicately inscribed on one side. The sight left her utterly astonished. After nearly a decade, the ring she thought lost had been returned to her. Everyone around them was equally stunned. "I was sobbing and holding it," Paula shared with the local media. "I was calling my kids and telling everyone about it. It felt miraculous, especially after such a challenging year for my family." Ted believed the ring was always meant to be with Paula, destined to remain in her family despite the odds. Their reunion, a dream realized after more than 10 years, was a remarkable Christmas gift for Paula and her husband. Now, they hope she takes extra care the next time she cleans. What do you think of this story? Tell us in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, please give our video a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to stay updated with our channel. Thank you.